Hiya folks, I thought I'd just do a quick one about this case report, which has just confirmed everything that everybody's been saying for many years. I'm from Sheffield, and I know people who've been affected by the grooming gangs or rape gangs. You're not supposed to say that word, are you, on here? You get blocked. I'm sure this video will probably get took down. But it's confirmed that a great majority, not a minority, the minority or the majority in this crime. In some places, they're double the white people now that have been doing it, the white British people, the English people, let's say. They called everybody racists. Now, this particular group of people is not a race. It's a belief, a religion, right? They've been committing this because it says they can. And they have. And it was all covered up by our government. Other reports have said that it's majority white. It gets quoted all the time on spaces like X and everything like that. Yes, but this report says it was majority white, which we know it wasn't. Especially when you look at situations like Rotherham, there was a list on Wiki of convicted sex offenders in Rotherham. There's about 60 names, and out of that 60 names, about 10 are English, right? And some of the English ones were actually involved helping the Rotherham rape gangs. So I will print it. I will put a link to that underneath so you can have a look. The reason I've got it up because historically you can go back into Wiki and see where it's been changed, and they took the list off last year or the beginning of this year after Elon Musk brought it up. Somebody went into Wiki and altered it so that the names didn't show up as a list anymore. But I'll put the link in with the list if you want to see it. And as I said, about 10% are actually British people on that list. I'm sure there's more, because what happened in a lot of cases where only the ringleaders of these gangs ever got sent to prison or charged. Many didn't get charged. Some in Rotherham, I know for a fact, raped children and then got a caution. Now, can you imagine that? Rotherham fathers got arrested going to the house to try and get the children away from groups of men. Children. And obviously the children were branded prostitutes and various other things. And these kids were like from age of 10, 11 to up to 16. Some of them were charged. So this has all come out. Labour government are hiding it, or have hidden it historically, because it was historically in Labour-run councils where most of it, 99% of it, were happening. If you've ever read the Oxford report about their gang, I'll put a link to that as well. The actual court, from the court notes. It's horrific, and they won't release a lot of these gangs' court proceeding notes because they're horrific. Nobody's saying that English and white people don't do these sorts of things, but not on this scale and not the sort of things they did. I'm not making any excuses here, but generally a paedophile might abuse one or two kids on his own. It's not a group sport. There are some groups who do it, but they're again abusing the same kids. But what these gangs were doing, they were mass raping them, but also trafficking them to hundreds of other men. And again, it's only the men who were doing the trafficking who were being caught, not the hundreds of men that these girls were sold to. So there's thousands and thousands of men on the streets in UK that have done this. All this needs to come out. Now, again, with Labour, they didn't want to have an inquiry. They've been forced into having this inquiry because some of the truths come out with this Casey inquiry, Casey audit. And I'm sure Keir Starmer and all the Labour Party have been buying trucks and trucks of whitewash, and the shredders have been shredding evidence ever since they got into power, ever since it was first brought up. They've been shredding things wholesale, over 24/7. And another thing that has just come up, apparently, they're trying to cover their backs now because the Whitehall and the Civil Service will be exempt from any investigation. Now, let that sink in. If that is true, then it's an absolute whitewash already, because all the people who allowed it to happen, who turned a blind eye, who lied about it, every single one of them people are complicit and as guilty as the rapists, and they need to be brought to justice. They should be imprisoned themselves. Now, they're very worried at the minute because we're at boiling point in UK and a lot of places due to problems like this, immigration, Ireland, because of what's been happening, how we've been lied to, what they've allowed to happen to our kids and women. We're at boiling point. So unless they're very careful, it could really kick off. And if it's going to kick off and we have a revolution, it needs to be concisive and total. The total government needs bringing down if that has to happen. Anyway, I'll leave you with that. I would say it's nice to be nice, but I don't feel very nice at the minute.